Blessings and salutations. Welcome. Welcome to Mile High Tarot, where we realize. It's been a minute since I have done a video for just specifically this collective. I do other readings for another collective. Okay. So, but the energy is that of, and plus I am a holistic practitioner. Okay. I have my hand in a lot of other activities as far as activists within where I live. The reading that we did within the last couple of days is unfolding. It will tie back into a lot of other channels that I have done along with Children of the Sun as well as my new soul or wellness center. So coming into the message was change. Next was diet. Next was the treasure. Right? With this energy, when we were originally doing this, the energy was real high. So in the computer system, we just forgot. We usually do record, but this particular one we did not. But this one has to do with shedding and shifting. Of course, so Gaia is going to be shifting and shedding some of the old patterns. Ashe, you hear the birds out there. I don't know if you do or you don't, but shifting and even taking those things in stride of finding new treasures and finding new ways to be in this world and live out like the energetic field, the shift. So going an extra octave higher. So if the planet is doing that, then as so its occupants needs to also drop off some of those old patterns of some of the ways that they live, think, and otherwise they'll become more sick and um, not being able to tap into their own internal compass um, and manifest in the ways that is another hawks there, crows there, conducive to healing the inner child, those things that we feel that are of um, a detriment that we've held on to for a very long time that did not, that we didn't heal from. Okay. So those are some of the things that I deal with along with my clients and doing and working with the inner child in womb healing as well as Akashic records. Okay. So the next cards that we have here are the forgiveness, okay, and the mirror. Now originally we had chose only 5 cards because we were going into it, but we're going to look into this mirror. She's like this, okay? Change is at the top, and so we have forgiveness and mirror. Okay? This was from that particular deck, in all. But in order to look therein, the surrender card came out. Okay? So we did read a lot of the information and we did work out a lot of the energy within another collective. So Hopefully, that this particular energy will get to whomever it needs to so that it can be able to help trigger them in the ways that it needs to. Okay. The symbol in this particular change card, the snake, is the keywords are shift, movement, realignment, disruption, transformation, and metamorphosis. Okay. Our awakened soul is not afraid of the snake, and she is holding, okay, that she's holding. She's actually looking at it like, hey, she's not afraid or anything like that. She's just basically looking at it. But she's in, she's looking straight into its eyes. So to me, this is basically like facing head on all those things that were in the past of the people, place, or things that didn't serve you, and that those things need to be dropped off. And change is the inevitable. So the shadow meaning of the card is the inability to move, being stuck, defying what is. Okay, so whatever it is that maybe someone might be in denial thereof, maybe in the shadow meaning, that is what that is for. Okay, how can you shift your perspective? Okay, so clearing certain things out, you know, moving things out that you thought that were of a treasure once before, you know, that you held at value. And that was a lot of things that we have been talking about, as well as like what placement value do you hold all these people, place, or things in that of like, oh, I do care for you, but I got this, and you're placing all these people, place, or things within a certain value placement system, like, hey, compartmentalizing all these people, place, or things, like what, um, how do you value these things? And, you know, where do they hold, how valuable do you hold yourself? How much do you love yourself enough to let those people, place, or thing go and grow? If they didn't serve you, or not so much as say, someone being in a serving energy of like, you're my slave, you do what I say, and anything like that. It's more or less of, hey, um, there's one thing that it could be one-sided or self-serving versus us helping each other or service to other type of energy. Okay. But it is that Gaia is always lucky. So regardless of what anyone may think or do or find or perceive, they have to know that when it comes to things of the heart or things that are at home, um, it's about forgiveness, you know, and this was also discussed about the I know why the caged bird sings. So, so this treasure, okay, is what we're going to talk about, the things that we hold of value. And it talks about the symbol is the seashell, and some were triggered by the starfish. So the keywords were exploration, riches, attention, fortune, and seek. Okay? And so you seek, so you shall find. I've been finding a lot of good little knickknacks and treasures that I hold dear, that actually they're going to serve me because they're for my business. So, okay, so the awakening soul story of this is our awakened soul has come to this tidal rock pool close to her home since she was a little girl. So every time she comes to this place, she is reminded of the riches of life that lives in such a small area. She carefully watches every creature in the pool, examines the shells, and picks out a beautiful piece to take home for her altar, carefully checking no animal has already claimed it for their home, which I do quite frequently. I do bring shells home and I put them on. um, so these pools are hidden for most of the day and night. There is only a small window of opportunity for their beauty to be seen. It is protection that many of the animals that call these pools home rely on to survive. Sometimes treasures need to be hidden, like the hidden chosen ones. Next, our awakened soul has combined this beach so many times it feels like a second home. She is always finding little jewels, which I do. She knows to find these pearls. She knows how to find these pearls, so she has to seek them out. She doesn't know. I mean, she basically like I really don't. When I go out and I do and find and shop, I'm not like, oh, I'm just specifically, I'm about to go look for such and such. Sometimes I do, but I'll never find it. But the things that I need, it finds me. So I'm grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
So she's always finding little jewels. She knows how to find these pearls. She has to seek, she doesn't have to, seek them out. They're not just going to come to her, but sometimes, they do. Her keen sense of observation has always seen her lucky in the way of abundance. This is often the way of people who pay attention. You have pulled the treasure card today. It means basically the attention to detail and the little things. It is worth going over things with intention, even though it will take more time. Attention needs to be given when you are walking, driving, and talking. No more autopilot, which makes perfect sense of
Mm-hmm.
this reading because normally, like I said, I pulled 5 or 6 cards in the reading normally with the esoteric group, and I didn't record it, and normally I do. So this particular time, I see that the pattern of what I gave was it stopped at a certain it stopped with the mirror of this awakened soul, and then it started with another deck. Okay, so we'll go on with that, and I'll explain to you what the other deck was. But it, like I said, on with that one, and then the affirmation was, "I am a treasure." We stated, "I am a treasure" 5 times. So if that's something that you would like to do, and that might be an affirmation that you might be able to want to do and try, that's perfectly something you could do. So, what treasure am I seeking? So, what is it that you're looking for through this change? Are you looking for spiritual growth? Are you looking for a new job? Are you looking to reinvent yourself? Are you looking for um, new transportation? What are you looking for? Whatever it is that you're looking for, you need to turn inwardly so that you can be able to find out what that is. Okay. So the next was the forgiveness, and immediately that triggered people in the group, which was the open bird cage. Okay, and that was absolution, mercy, freedom, unburdened, and unshackled. And I just heard unchain my heart. Okay, don't know what that one was about, but maybe someone feels bound at the heart somehow, obviously. So this particular card always makes me feel about the movie I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. So that's a movie that you can probably even watch that might give you some downloads. Our awakened soul is listening to the beautiful canary sing happily after being set free. She and the canary are connected in their joy as her heart is feeling light and free after finally forgiving things that have happened in the past. I'm recording. The bird cage is a symbol of her body, mind, and soul. Okay, when it was locked and shut down, she was giving the gift of forgiveness and was trapped. She was trapped in the past, repeating her patterns. She was caged in her entire life, unable to find happiness or peace. Through an ultimate act of self love, she has not only forgiven her past and the people that needed it, she also has forgiven herself. She is now truly free. That right there is lovely because she's looking at those treasures that she found here on earth or that she found within. So it is time to give yourself permission to be free. There's no point in holding on to the past or to the wrongs, unfairness, or trauma that resides there. You do not live or belong in the past. If you have any holding on to something for so long that it feels shameful or living up to the let go. Acknowledge that this is just the ego trying to keep you stuck and in pain. Forgiveness, I had to be quiet for a second because I heard something in the background. It was kind of like, skirt. Oh my. So forgiveness, forgiving ourselves can be hard, but when it is done in acceptance as a part of your spiritual work, incredible transformation can happen in your life. Forgiveness is an inside job and outside job. Okay, so as so within, so without. Because the way that you talk to yourself, like I said before, the more that you talk to yourself and you say all these negative things, those things within your DNA cellular structure, they listen to that. Okay. And then eventually when it's time for you to ascend later down the line, you can't ascend because you have all these blockages for yourself. Okay. That you have begat that caused all these things in your organs and your DNA cells and in your mind, and you start to think differently, and then you be like, dang, I got high blood pressure. I never had that before, or I had this, or and you're wondering like why all these different illnesses have come about is because of the way that you've talked to yourself your whole entire life and the way that you've eaten. Okay. So as or a man and or a woman thinketh, so it became so. And so if you've gotten these things, either they've become hereditary and or how you have eaten. Okay. That's my best friend there. We're kind of sitting here. She's giving that energy too. So but it tells you then it shows you then like, hey, I didn't live right at some point where I'm eating in gluttony, I'm eating things that I shouldn't. My body doesn't like those types of things anymore because there are certain times when you can speak to, well, as well as I can speak with a client and they can say, hey, well, I've been eating like that my whole entire life. Well, okay, well, now that's the issue. And I can see that's the problem because otherwise you wouldn't be here speaking with me. Okay, let's move on. I'll talk to you about that on a different note. So she, with this particular card, um, it's about giving yourself permission to be free. Okay. So there's no point in holding on to the past or any of your wrongs, any of your unfairness or your traumas that reside there. Okay. All those people, place, or things that have begat and done things to you that, okay, what part did you play in it? Okay. Accept the parts that you've played in it, forgive the people, place, or things, and move on if you can, and be able to put that forgiveness and or that energy into your spiritual storehouse so that you might be able to move on from that, and that way you can ascend through your consciousness level to be able to say, hey, I overcame that. I don't have to pay attention to that. And if that person does or does not forgive me at some point, you ain't got nothing to do with that. That is none of your business. You came clean within your heart. Okay. So let's move on to the next one, which was the mirror card. Got our Black Queen here. Okay. So I obviously want to jump to her, but I didn't even finish with the shadow card of this. like I said with this of the everybody wants to point the finger. Nobody ever wants to be wrong. Everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to play the super hero, but nobody ever plays the villain. They never, everybody, they got some good villains, some of them, because you be like, dang, he gave me a run for my money. Even Superman and all the rest of them had a good fight. But in the end, they won, and Batman and all of them, they be winning and stuff like that. But man, you be like, man. But I like the underdog. But the underdog comes in, which is the one that comes in and saves herself. Hey, you got to be able to save yourself in order to get up to fight the next guy, the guy that's coming, the guy that you've been, or either the guy that you've been fighting, or some of them demons that you've been fighting, whether they're yours or someone else's. But you better have proper discernment of spirit to know that all those people, places, or things, and know your own energy. Not all that stuff is your fight. It's not. Okay. So blaming other people or yourself, holding on to grudges, victim mentality, or punishing yourself. Like I just said, that's the shadow meaning. Okay, so the affirmation is I am love, I forgive. The personal reflection is who needs forgiveness and what would the that allow for me into be in the future. So whatever it is, like I said, if forgiving the people, place, or things allows that room for you to be able to put that into your storehouse so that when you can bank on that energy, when you start to feel like you need to falter, or you're not need to falter, but you are feeling like, oh my God, I feel depleted. I feel like all these people, place, or things are starting to wear down on me. I'm tired. That's when you go and you go into your data bank and you go, you add yourself with this energetic field of like, oh yeah, let me bank on that energy so I can go back out here and fight the good fight. Okay. So with this particular next card, it was about mirroring. Okay. The mirroring effect. We was dealing with that. We spoke about that a lot within the collective as well. So the mirror is the symbol with the mirror. So keywords were reflection, love, acceptance, and projection. Our awakened soul was awkward. Awkward. No, just kidding. Our awakened soul has woken this morning and looked in the mirror, and at the same as she is 1,000 times now. So she looks in there, and however today is, she's looking at herself like a new. Okay. She had a powerful dream where her reflection gently places a hand on her face, smiled, and said, love you, in a way that her wake was with tears and appreciation and love in her eyes. So now I have to look at it in a different way because now what I'm about to share with you all is brand new and fresh. I didn't even share with this collective was because the mirror during this change in the here and now. When I read that with the collective, it was more relaxed in a sense where we laugh, we curse a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, we curse a little bit. And so it was more relaxed because we were the soul collective of different things. We knew we were at a higher vibration in that particular field at that time. So we were all self reflecting on our energy of who we were, sharing all these different parts of ourselves with all these people in this collective soul tribe, that it was just like some, it was like, dang, I remember when I was a child, I did like, I did as childlike things. And as I've gotten older now, I do adult like things, but there are certain things that I still would like to be like a part of that sometimes people forget how to tap into those areas or stay into those areas and not still feel like of lack mentality or poverty mind thinking, um of saying, hey, I can't have something. So whatever it is you dreamed of when you're a child, you can still have those things. It's just that how do you strive to get that? Do you How do you make a plan to get there? Okay. So, and how do you drop those patterns off from those things that you thought? But this dream thing that they're talking about, I had some wild, crazy dream last night, but I'll share that later. But it says, now looking into her own eyes, she sees all life is a reflection and how she sees herself, and that truly love, and that she must fully love herself. So loving yourself, how can you even give yourself to anyone if you're not able to give that love to yourself? Okay, loving on yourself and making sure that it's still, you know, you're still being open to want that love and be able to help the next person to, hey, be a listening ear, being a help and service. Hey, health and service, healthy mind, being able to express those things with other people that are of like mind. That's health. But explaining, expressing yourself here on this planet and showing up on the planet in such of a way that is conducive to um, not self-serving, but still of either you're going to choose two things: self service of self, which is kind of one-sided, or are you going to be and self-sabotaging, or are you going to be a manifester here on the planet that can be able to have a model system that others can learn from to be able to say, hey, this is something that we need to address, that we need to tap into when it comes to the root core. Working with that root core sacral chakra and the sacral, going each up because that's what the planet is doing. Okay, I just want to let you know that that's what I'm doing, and I would like to inform people that people who are with me, know, that is in the collective, that yes, that's what I do, and I am reaching a higher plateau in my octave, and that's what I'm doing. So I would appreciate that the learning systems that I am pushing out there to the system and being able to share when it comes to the healing of the planet, that my light codes are effective enough in a way that's conducive to your healing and not for you to go out and take them out and misuse. All right. So the next one was the mirror. And so she says, casting away all the negative thoughts and projections about herself, she is no longer going to shy away from the mirror. So any photos are being seen, people of the amazing goddess she is. So if you feel like maybe some people might be even camera shy. So if you're not, then hey, take that picture. You know, take that picture. Take you some, go out there, enjoy you some, dress up, do you something. I know it's my best friend's birthday. We're gonna do some things, huh? We're gonna do some things. We're gonna nice. Right now we had some rain, which on the East Coast, I've had some of my collective also say that it rained pretty hard out there for them too, which was cool because it just seemed like the rain just did like it over the states, you know. So the next was with the awakening meaning of it was basically that this card is coming to you today. Say basically like the change that um okay, and that the change that you want to see be the change that you want to see in yourself. So if you want to see those things in the world, be that within yourself to make that change. So make that change. I just heard Michael Jackson make that change, man in the mirror. Okay. So your relationships are your greatest teachers. So if you're going to meet someone in an aspect, you already know they're either going to be your soul friends, they're going to be somebody that you can learn from as far as your soul tribe, or someone that at some point, hey, you're just doing business with them, you put them in a category, categorize, compartmentalize these people. Okay. Are they best friends? Are they almost like family? Are they someone that either, if I'm going to be in a romantic sense with these people, am I going to be in either I'm going to marry them or break up with them? Plain and simple, because you want to grow with these people either way. Um, so like I said, your relationships are your greatest teachers. So people often mirror back, your fear and your judgments and your projection. So if a person that you want is not coming towards you, it's because he or she feels or recognizes certain characteristics or attributes that are within them that feels like, hey, there's a projection there. Like maybe they feel like either they feel like they're not enough, or you feel that way. Okay. As so a man and or woman think it, so it becomes so, and so within, so without. So if those things that you feel insecure about, if you're projecting those things out, your auric field is projecting that of that. So all that you don't want will gravitate toward you. So it's a part of the law of attraction. Hey, you can believe it if you don't. That's on you. But if you walk around with this Billy Goat look on your face, you could dang best believe that no one's gonna approach you. So, what's wrong? Ain't nothing wrong with me. Okay, well, it's just the way they all look. Okay, well, excuse me. Okay. So the next is also call a take to look at it takes a asking you to what expectations, okay, you're placing on yourself and others. Okay. When it comes to some of the things that you might have looked at, but look at this card that she's in. This next deck was from the African Goddess Rising deck because it obviously made me stop at some point with the Awakening Soul, and I went to this goddess, African Goddess Rising. So the Sakarat wanted to come out, which was the scarcity. So she was looking at the scarcity. So if the divine feminine is looking at the scarcity, or maybe like we were talking about the things that, you know, that you when you were younger, the things that you did when you were younger, you don't do those types of things anymore. You're more or less gotten older. You're more, more refined. You're able to and more grounded. You might be have gotten a little older, but you still, got it there. But at some point, that's what we were talking about. And there were divine masculines also included within the group as well. So they were also within accordance of that. And they, the energy came about of respecting the divine feminine, respecting the generations of that, the mother, the sisters, the grandmothers, okay? Especially the grandmothers and the mothers. Okay, so we're getting ready to approach with Mother's Day, so that was another energy that came in, and the ancestors were here along with the seven um, African powers, Ashe. And so the scarcity card that came in was it was about the shadow. Okay, so she obviously was looking at the shadow parts of herself. Okay, and it had to do with the element of air, so it was with Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, okay, energy. So that was the Trinidad diaspora. So beauty by day and had by night. The Sarikant is a energy vampire, also known throughout the diaspora of the old Hig or Buhag. Whether energy or blood, for vampires there's never enough to go around. You have so much more than you realize. You have access to unlimited joy, love, good times, pleasure, and prosperity. Be grateful for your riches. Okay? That was the shadow guidance. Okay, so the embodiment of it was stop going to the ocean and asking for thimble full of water. It doesn't feel like it when you're desperate for scarcity, and lack are an illusion. Prosperity is believing that there is an overflow, more than enough. Love, happiness, and well being, and money to go around. Vampires take from others because they don't have enough. life force for themselves. That is scarcity consciousness. When you embody lack, you are always hungry, tired, and jealous. Make a gratitude list, what you are grateful for right now. My blessings always overflow. That is the goddess declaration, which we also spoke about this morning in the collective, where we were talking about someone asking money from another source to survive. Okay, that's that utilization of the Capricornic energy I utilize. Okay, so, and please, no one get offended, but that's what it is. But um, that's what the scarcity of the to clear the air of. If you're asking source, God source, for this, then stop just asking for little things. If you're going to ask for stuff, then ask for the big gusto. Okay, manifest those things for which you want. This is card 21, so 2 and 1 is 3. So manifest, you can manifest those things by the way in power of 3. So my blessings always overflow. We also stated, like I said, with this point, we were stating our affirmations and declarations by the energy of 5 so that we can thrust that change. And we normally we're doing manifestation 3 and 3 and 5, but we did it by 5 this time. And the scarcity that one might feel that we were in lack thereof. So the next card came up was about um, when we see certain people being disrespected, especially your grandmother or an elderly person or a grandparent, just an elderly person, an ancestor, not an ancestor, but an elderly person. Um, and your mother and how you speak to her, and she's the main vessel, how you got here. Not to say that all women who bring children or entities onto this planet um, our mother are presenting themselves in a nurturing way. And it's not to say that they couldn't have ever done that. It's just that the template that they had to work with was a template there of, hey, um, they came from a template of of a generational curses that their parent couldn't stand up to the occasion to do what they needed to do because of whatever trauma, inner child trauma issues that they've had. Okay, so the next card, like I stated, was that of the speak up. Okay, this is the Mame Kumba Bang. Okay, the goddess of speaking up, the goddess of synagogue. Okay, the temple Drias, which is a water element. Okay, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, which is the Mambacumbe Bang, protects the mouth of the Senegal River. When making an offer to her, you must not speak to anyone else, coming or going. Sing for her, chant for her, call to her. Give Goddess Kumba your voice, and she'll be happy. Speak up, speak up, speak on it, speak out, speak on it. You have a right to be heard. Embodiment of this card is you are betraying yourself by not speaking up. Your words have power. Own your voice. As the old saying goes, Ashe. As the old saying goes, stand up for something or fall for not anything. Being neutral is not an option. When you stand firmly in your truth, you have thoughts, opinions, beliefs, and convictions. What do you stand for? Tell someone today. So the goddess declaration is I reclaim my voice, I speak out and speak up, which we definitely speak up and speak out. And that card, and ironically, it was card 33, and it was the esoteric group that we were really speaking up and voicing our opinion when it came to the total disrespect of how the masculine have been disrespectful to the women here on this planet. Divine masculine, straighten up, like right now, the way that you are treating the divine feminine. Notice I said divine feminine, okay? Because not all feminine are going to play their part of being able to tap into their divinity. Not to saying that they can't reach that point, but a lot of people need to realize that certain parts that they've came to play here on this planet. If you have not woken up to the fullness thereof of your own DNA structure by this point, then you need to either find someone who can help you to do that, or you need to open up your eyes would realize, would real to recognize the realize, so that hey, either you're the one that's full of shit, or you're being the wool is being pulled over your eyes somewhere. Okay, okay. Well, Rock, have you been up underneath for a good minute? So um, the next card at this point, when it came to, and that's being, like I said, that's being able to see through the lies and deceit and betrayal. Okay, so in this here and now, you need to live out loud, speak up, and speak out loud about certain things, about the people, places, and things that do not serve you, that's causing you some sort of a disarray. Find your soul tribe. Okay, this is Goddess Yasigi. Card 31, and 3 and 1 is 4. Okay, that's house, home, family, security. So the goddess of living out loud, the Dogon. Okay, that's the Dogon tribe. The Mali. All right. So that's the temple Griats. So the element, like I stated, was water, okay, which is the Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. The Yasigi has the reputation of being free spirited, okay. So that's the free spirited party goddess for the Dogon people of Mali. She was the very first Yasin. The Yassins are women empowered to participate in the mass dances, okay. In the Yasigi's guidance, express yourself. You have something to say, share your voice and magic, express your you-ness. Embodiment, the way that you express yourself, won't make everyone happy. That's okay. You're not meant to. Living out loud and self-expression look different for everyone. For outgoing extroverts, self-expression may mean dance on tables and screaming your points of view. Introverts may speak out in other ways, and say the latter parts of their personalities for loved ones. So you may act differently other than you can, you know what I'm saying, around your people, place, or things, around your other friends. You may act a little bit differently than you can, around other people. So the goddess declarations is I'm free to express myself fully. So wherever you're at, be yourself. If you used to be or a certain way, like holding yourself in governance and reverence from other people, like, oh, we're not act like that. Be yourself. You know, that may allow them to be able to come out as well. Okay. So in order to do all of that, and to find all those parts that are within you, to be able to find out what those are, like, well, what parts do I share, what parts can I, you know do I feel comfortable with sharing with certain people. You have to be able to have proper discernment of spirit to find that out for yourself. You know which ones by now. If you don't, then ask your DNA cells to tell you that. Say, source, God source, please Help me to tap in so that I can be able to find out who those people are for myself and let them be known. And you can give yourself certain things to say, hey, let them uh not to wish harm on anyone, but let this be shown to me in a certain kind of a way that lets you know that that's who they are. You know what I mean? But this, let's go to this surrendering of that. Okay, got two wells there. We have a guy there. He's trying to actually get around them, but they're two lovers, two lover wells. But this is about surrendering, and the symbol is the wells. So the key words is about acceptance and relinquish control, awe, and yielding. Okay, so our awakened soul, who are sea kayaking with two very special animals, can they have a realization of divine surrender today. So the whales have come to them as a messenger and a sign of grace and acceptance. Whales hold power energy. Okay, so they are living memory of the planet. They live in open water and travel great distances every year. I don't know what that was. The openness of the well reminds us to surrender. When we surrender the well, we can go with the natural flow of things again. Our kayakers can only see from a certain perspective for the surface down, okay? And only what the available light will let them see because the wells are so huge. And so they have very little control over what happens in the expansive environment that they are in. I'd have to go see what this is. This is just too crazy. Okay, sorry about that. I had to close my window. Okay, so I'm gonna clear the air with that. I have some new neighbors. We've all been over here for about 20, 30 years, but we have some new neighbors here. Wonderful. All right. So, like I said, let's go back to this card. It was the surrendering card with the whales. Okay. I just heard something over there. So we're back. I'm assuming because I just heard the energy like creak over there. So the whales. Okay. So they hold a lot of power and the kayakers can't really see the other perspective from that, like what's on the other side of that big whale. He can only see this big picture. He's not really looking at the smaller things on the other side. So it's about also acceptance and relinquishing control. So surrendering to things that you think of how the things are supposed to look like, or how they're showing up in your life. Okay, basically. So today, you are being asked to gracefully hand over the need to control the path and outcome of the situation. This can be hard, especially when you have invested in so much. So, when you try to control, you put up blocks. When you relinquish control, you create space for the things that move again. And if you're able to give it over with grace, ease soon follows. So it with this particular card, it holds the message of acceptance where you are. It does not serve you or others to deny where you are. where when you accept and give up your projections or illusions, you can move forward. Are you being challenged to give something up to a higher power? How does that challenge you? Allow something outside of yourself to bring you miracles. Surrender is also allowing yourself to be totally present in the moment, to open to feeling powerful emotions. So being in awe of the majesty of magic around you. Surrender to the way you feel. Completely surrender to love. For those of you who crave freedom, this is a powerful card. The more you work, the more you can work to loosen the grip you have, the journey and outcome, the more you feel free you can be. The more free you can be, excuse me. So trust that you are going to be provided for and that the good things will consistently happen to you and that they really will happen in a way to become reality. So that's like you trusting in the God source universe or whatever, however it is that some people believe in, and whether you believe in a higher power, if you're able to manifest it, or you're asking, Jesus, or you're asking this God source or whatever higher source that you believe in, that's the simple fact that, hey, I'm really believing in you. I'm tapping in and I'm believing in and having faith that you are going to show up in my life in such of a way that, hey, is conducive to what my dreams would want or the dreams that I'm striving for. But how, if you're not as too detailed as to of what you're wanting about these people, place, or things, or then it's going to show up in such of a way that you're going to get it, but you may not get the things, you may not receive it in the ways that you might think that you're going to receive it. Like, I didn't think that I was going to receive it from that particular source, or I didn't think that I was going to receive it in such of a impacting way or a way that it showed up in my life like, hmm, I'm here. And everybody's congratulating you, and you're just like, hmm, wow. You're not feeling like, how did I end up here? It's just kind of like, wow, I made it. Wow. Okay. So with the surrendering of this with this card, it's basically saying like for if you received this grace, have grace for yourself. But the dark meaning of it is like control, fear, lack of trust, worrying about the outcome, or future manipulating the outcome. Like you thinking that you have control over the outcome sometimes of how you think it's supposed to how you're supposed to receive it. A Ashe. A total person, a total stranger, or a person that you could not stand is someone that actually is a person that can help you. Okay. So the shadow meaning was like that, like I said, like certain people manipulating things that you really don't have control over. So accepting the things that you have control over and accepting the things that you can't. So the affirmation is I surrender. We said this 5 times. I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. So, but we said it with meaning. I've done mine, do yours. So the personal reflection is do I trust that the universe has my back? I do. Like I said, you have to have faith and belief system in something. If you don't believe in something, then what you gonna stand for? Okay. So on that note, after I pulled all of those cards, I just saw a little fairy. I just saw a fairy. Wow. That was beautiful. I'm going to have to rewind that to go back. Hopefully you guys saw it. It's my little fairies. I grabbed the Aboriginal. Okay. So this was the Sound of Spirit card that came out for the Aboriginal. So I'm going to read what this particular Sound of Spirit said. It says, In the dream time, the dreams spoke as we do today. They had their own language and could easily talk to each other. And this was important because when the bad weather would come, trees would whisper to each other and warn of the impending weather. Mind you, we said it rained. Some trees like to reach high in the sky and would grow tall to reach for the sun's warmth, while others like the shade until under the protection of the big tall trees. There was a small group of younger trees who were always competing against each other to grow the biggest, tallest, and strongest. Sometimes the competition to grow was so fierce that they would neglect their duties to pass on messages to other trees. One day, while they were busy growing and competing, they all neglected to pass on messages of a big storm that was heading in their direction. Uh oh, we had a big storm. Okay. When the storm came, all the little flowers were depending on the protection of the large, tall trees that didn't have time to close and protect themselves. As a result, all the little flowers died and were never able to grow again. And from then on, the trees took their responsibility seriously to protect the smaller flowers. Now, in the Dreamtime message, it said that they don't trust the Chinese whispers. What you are hearing is not what originally was said, and others have added their own version and bias to the story. It's not intentional, but what you need to do is get the information and the truth directly from the source. Okay? Don't believe all that he say, she say. Get it from the source. Bring that. If someone says something about me, please bring them to me and ask me and say and let me know if that's something that they said that I said that he said. Because really, I don't give two rats behind about what the hell you talking about. If it's true, then hey. But if it's some gossip bullshit, please keep that to yourself. I am not down with that. Okay? That's a good way to get you cussed out, get your feelings hurt. Okay? Because we real lies around here. Got me? So in the dream time, like I said, it said something about Chinese whispers. Now I did hear George Michael, Careless Whispers, so whatever that might mean for someone. So it's not intentional when you do hear it. You know, sometimes when something gets told by way of gossip to another person, whether it's good or bad, sometimes other people may add a piece or two of information that may mean a little bit something different to them for the next person. Be like, well, dang, that was perceived in a rude way or arrogant and or good and or bad and or whatever energy they received it in. However, it got back to the person it was might have not been received in a good light, and or maybe it did. Okay, it's up to you. This is your story. So when you take this step, you will be relieved to find that things are not quite as bad as you thought. So whatever you thought that somebody was thinking about you, maybe it wasn't even true. You know what I mean? Sound of spirit. Maybe it wasn't even true. It's not even really anyone's business. It's not your business about what other people think of you. It's not because you worrying about stuff that don't even have none. You know, don't have no bearing on your life. You know, unless these people is paying your bills and living in such a way where it's hurting, harming you and stuff like that. Then hey, okay. So then I was going to pull one more card because that was all of the deck and self-expression of this collective read that I was going to do for the Maha Tarot as well as the esoteric group because that's really what we were doing it for. We call the family. So this at the bottom of this African goddess rising was the Asin, Yazin, miracles. Okay, was the miracle. And at the top was the divine lineage of the Sirikali. Okay. And I love the Kali energy. So we're gonna go and I'm gonna pull one more. Okay. So I hope that some of this information can help someone throughout this reading, because I know that a couple of my collective was like, "Hey, where's that reading at?" And I didn't record that night, obviously because the ancestors wanted me to do something different. Okay, so but like I said, I was working with this African goddess deck that night. So, the divine feminine, this is definitely for you to be able to pay attention and listen to that. Hey, uh, the masculine and the divine masculine can no longer disrespect you. I just saw another fairy. They have to respect you in such of a way that is conducive to both of your healing and their healing on the planet. They will be uplifting you. If this masculine, they will be respecting the God mothers, the mothers who have um, brought them a template that is respectful, that is of healing, that is of knowledge and or wisdom and or healing for their generational foundation. Okay, their foundation, they have to have that. Okay, our elders are leaving this planet. We have to be able to receive that information so that we can be able to hold on to that. Okay, but on the bottom here we have joy. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. I said, yeah, mother and child. Okay. That mother and child energy and truth. Okay. And she's got this looking in the water of the self reflection, which is beautiful, reflects the whole deck and the whole reading. Okay. So give us one more card, please. All right. So that one card is going to be soul forgiveness. All right. So, in that appreciation of those things of exchange here in life that we've had to change here, is about soul forgiveness. Wow. Card 28, which is 28, 8 and 2 is 10. Completion of that change. This 10 of Pentacles, 10 energy. You already know that when you have this soul forgiveness for yourself, it's about speaking truth because that wind up being the bottom. Wow. And because you were brazen about having soul forgiveness for yourself, card 17. So let's go on and discuss that real quick. And then we'll be able to close that out. That was wonderful. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, so with this change card, let me go ahead and reflect this real quick before with this last card of appreciation with this soul forgiveness. Okay, card 28. Okay, Makbu, the goddess of soul forgiveness. Okay, that's the Bantu tribe. The temples is the lovers. The element is the bush. Okay. For the Nangbi Bantu, goddess Mambu was the first woman, her father, and I totally hope I'm not screwing the names up. Akango, the cranky supreme god, put Makumbu, her loud children, in the basket and dismissed them to earth. It's kind of like the Moses put him in a basket and when he went down and okay, we're going. So, who do you need to forgive? Let it go and reclaim yourself, forgiveness, and a gift of freedom for yourself, for you, and for, like I stated before, about everybody wanted to point the finger instead of accepting the parts that he or she had played in certain things. And once you've done that of the people, place, or things, when you've accepted the parts that you've played in it, then therefore you be able to get that energy back and reclaim that for yourself to heal that and come into self acceptance thereof of your own personal DNA, cellular structure of forgiveness, of self acceptance, excuse me, and soul forgiveness, so that you can be able to have that in your storehouse. So that's what that soul forgiveness is about. This is lovely. This is so lovely. Okay, so the embodiment of this is you can't rush forgiveness. You have to feel it to heal it. So feel the pain, hurt, grief, rage, and despair. Take the time with your heart. Forgiveness is a higher vibration frequency than the pain you must allow yourself to feel. Forgiveness colors your world with lack, mistrust, unforgiveness, excuse me. Unforgiveness colors your world with lack, mistrust, and resentment. You start to see everything through victim colored glasses, basically rose colored glasses. But forgiveness does not have to include reconciliation. Start with self forgiveness. Say out loud, I forgive myself with love. Goddess declaration is I forgive and free myself. I forgive and free others. I forgive and free myself. I forgive and free others. Try that 5 times. I forgive and free myself. I forgive and free others. I forgive and free myself. I forgive and free others. I've said all my declarations, so now I've said it about 10 times. Okay. So, but it's about this soul forgiveness. Great. I love this. This is in self-reflection thereof of this whole deck. Okay. So during this particular change in self and uh-oh, shedding from the old self, from the lies and deceit and betrayal of whatever it is that maybe you might have you didn't speak up on before. Now you can speak up on because of this soul forgiveness. And with the things that we're lucky with here on the planet, that became, that maybe came to a completion, that maybe you stopped, maybe a job or a relationship, or you had to move from a situation here on the planet, whatever it became, the things that you thought that were lucky here on the planet, still live your truth and live out loud. Okay. And the things that maybe were in the movement of this, even there some by way of a move or the way that someone's feeling about certain things because of those lies and deceit and betrayals, um, of other people having to speak up in certain situations. Now you can see that, hey, you are still a treasure, and you might have found some things also and came up on some treasured information that you can speak up on behind the lies and deceit and betrayal. So you will be able to do that. And or if you don't, these things that were in the past, now you can speak up on those things now, because you may not have had full information back then that you do now or will have in the future. Mm, nice. So, when it comes to family and health and family and home and everything and forgiveness, okay? So, and those things that you might feel that, hey, this is some sort of a scarcity thing. I'm feeling like lack, the scarcity mentality. Maybe I don't feel like I am enough and or might have not been enough. A person feeling like, hey, I'm gotten older, I put away childish things, that type of thing, like I said before, the things that this person in self-reflection thereof. So in order to even receive any of that soul forgiveness in this particular energy, through this change, it is about surrendering to your sound and listening to the sound of spirit. Okay. So I hope that helps someone, especially I know that it really did help within my collective, in my other group, because we were speaking truth and it's a truth type of a group. So we was brazenly talking and we like to have that energy pretty high in some of our groups. So just know that when speaking your truth, then make sure that stand strong in that. You know what I mean? Hold your ground. Okay? And always remember to realize and realize with realize. Okay? Use that third eye. Okay? Love you guys. Like, share, subscribe, share this with your friends. Maybe this might be able to help with someone. If you need to get in touch with me, you can always contact me at milehightarot at gmail.com. Um, I do have some numbers, but I won't link those by way of my other company to that. I do have a holistic practice, so I do also do clearing of chakra systems as well as Akashic records. So if you need any of those services, don't feel hesitant to contact me. Okay? Much love to you, family. Peace. Namaste.